What is faceless content?
Some people just don't like being on camera. The entire video can be generated for you. We had one guy do over 900,000 views on one of these faceless videos.
I'm seeing stuff come out of Runway that are so good, it is alarming.
I love the trolls. Some of the comments that I get are AI slop peddler. One that sticks out like,
You've been able to grow on TikTok multiple times, get your account blocked and then permanently banned.
the point of these platforms is to keep you on longer so they can serve you more ads. When there's content that takes you off platforms, they sometimes don't like it.
What's up, everybody? I just got back from Sharjah doing a talk on intelligent identities and how people are using AI in corporate branding. So we all know this. It is the topic du jour, maybe the topic of the century. We're not quite sure, but everything that we do and know is going to be impacted in one way or the other by AI. I'm an AI optimist. I think there are many dark paths it could go down, but I'm sure all of you are wondering, how do I use this? How can I use it to help me be more of me and be more efficient? We're not talking about inauthentic or unethical things. That's why I've invited my next guest, Austin, to the show. He's developed some tools and he's got a perspective on AI. So if that's what you're interested in, stick around. Austin, for people who don't know who you are, can you please introduce yourself and give us a little bit of your backstory?
Yeah, Chris, firstly, thank you so much for having me on, man. It's an honor to be chatting with you today. You're an absolute legend. I am a serial entrepreneur at this point, I guess. I'm an international speaker. I'm a content creator at heart that creates businesses around my content creation. So I have a justifiable reason to create videos and content every single day. I've been doing social media marketing for this month, actually marked 20 years that I've been doing social media marketing, and not just having a social media account. I mean, growing a following and actually monetizing that. I've been doing this since MySpace when I was 14 years old. It's crazy to think that I've been doing this for so long. But I absolutely love what I do. My first company was a social media marketing agency. My newest company is Syllabi, which has taken my 20 years of social media experience, 11 years of working in marketing agency experience, 6 years owning my own marketing agency, and I turned it into AI software that makes video marketing really simple. You can create about a month's worth of targeted social media videos in a matter of minutes. Create, schedule, and publish. I love coaching people and talking about content creation in general. I am just so passionate about social media marketing. And more recently AI and AI tools and opportunities. I'm truly blessed that I've stuck to this path.
All right. So I'm doing the math here. Are you 34?
I will be 34 in 13 days.
Still relatively young man. So you're very much a person who kind of grew up with the internet, with social media. So this is all native for you. And I think I need to say that because for context, everybody's like, wait, the math doesn't add up here, but it does. Okay. Do you have a background in software development and coding?
No. Nope.
Okay.
I am just the idea guy. So I had to bring on, fortunately, it's all about who you know. So I have a CTO who's a really good friend that I've known for 8 or 9 years at this point, that is a software development wizard, has worked at big teams, Apple, Dell, Genentech, Pfizer. And I'm very fortunate to have been able to bring him on because I'm just the guy that can market.
So you have the ideas, you're the entrepreneur, and you have the ability to market and create content. So your partner in this dance is someone to develop the tools for you, the coding part. People aren't really that interested in how the sausage is made. Let's just talk about the sausage for a little bit here. We're talking about AI and content creation. What is faceless content? What does that mean, and how does one use that?
As the name kind of implies, it's content without a face. So one of the biggest problems that I saw just over and over again is that some people just don't like being on camera. A lot of business owners and even content creators, they want to be active on social media. They know they need to be active on social media if they want to sell, but they just can't get themselves to press record, or they find different reasons. I've got a zit on my face that day. I have a bad hair day. I've got bags under my eyes. I'm a little tired. I'm not motivated. Back to my why is that social media has changed my life, and I just want to provide the tools that empower people to create, and so that it can change their lives as well. And so what faceless videos are, this can be broken down into different categories of faceless as well. So you might see B-roll oriented content where it's oceans moving, or people playing tennis, or someone typing on a computer, and maybe there's text subtitles over screen, and maybe an AI voiceover, or maybe it's your voiceover. How it's being done more recently with AI generated imagery and videos. And so that's how we do it at Syllabi, for instance. And so how it works is you can type in an idea. You can type in anything like 5 secrets of ancient Rome. It will write the entire script for you using AI, and then it will take sentences from that actual script and generate a unique image that's specific to the context of that script in different art styles. And then it edits everything together. So it adds multiple images side by side. It adds the transitions in there where it zooms in on the image, or it animates the image in some way. It adds subtitles on screen. It adds background music. It adds the voiceover, which you can choose your own voiceover, or have an AI voiceover, an AI voice clone of yourself. And basically, the entire thing is packaged for you. That's ready to publish on social media in a matter of minutes. All you need to do is type in a single idea, and the entire video can be generated for you. The results of these, you might think like, oh, AI slop, which I get some of those comments sometimes, but they perform exceptionally well based on user signals. I mean, we're just doing a challenge right now. We had one guy do over 900,000 views on one of these faceless videos entirely organically. Several people have done 100,000 to 500,000 views just this last month from these videos. So people actually like this content. It's easy for people to create. It enables more creativity. I am on the positive side of AI as well. I think there definitely are some things that keep me up at night. I think these tools enhance creativity and democratizes what goes into content creation in the first place, and allows anybody to be able to express themselves online.
Okay, I've got a lot of follow-up questions.
All right.
Number one is, you said there are many versions of these faceless content. I think you mentioned one of them, which is B-roll with voiceover. Did you quickly just go through the other? Because I want to make sure I hit them so everybody kind of knows like the different types.
B-roll videos stitched together, AI animated imagery, which would be stitched together. Those are kind of the two that I had mentioned. Now we're seeing sort of enhancements on that type as well, where the image is actually animated into a short scene. So if an image is generated in Midjourney or Flux or DALL-E 3 or any of these AI image generation tools, the AI technology is now there to take that image and turn it into a movie, essentially, a 3 or 4 second moving clip with mouth movement, hand movement, background scene movement. And so it takes that image and makes it more of an enhancement.
I've seen people cut fake movie trailers from images. I think they're generated through Runway, from taking a source image probably from Midjourney, sequencing those together and making them move. First of all, I want to just tell our audience something. If you're skeptical about the quality or AI slop or just whatever it is, or it's just bad, that probably was the case maybe 3 to 6 months ago. And you can see it, like weird things with eyes and hands and all that kind of stuff. But as a person who has spent over 25 years in the motion design, visual effects industry, it is alarming how good it is. Things are stable. Things are moving naturally. Things that I know would have taken a really long time, building a full skeleton and 3D mesh and texture mapping and lighting and compositing, and then adding in extra effects like particles and smoke and dust. That is not something that's easy to do. It requires a whole team of people to do it, and it's very expensive to do. So I know what I'm looking for when I look at that kind of stuff. And now I'm seeing stuff come out of Runway and soon to be many other platforms that are so good, it is alarming. So if you're in the visual effects space, you might be, your job or what you do might be threatened if you don't know how to incorporate these tools. Are you talking about something different than Runway or something else?
Runway is a great example. There's other great tools like Pika, and Luma Labs Dream Machine that can all do all of these effects. I think Midjourney is actually rolling it out as well, if they haven't rolled it out, that you can create the image and then add additional context to it to animate it. Chris, I kind of want to spin that question on you though, like having worked in that space for so long. What's your honest thoughts and opinions on the VFX industry? Do you like this? Do you hate this?
When you can control the input and what it does to the degree in which you would need to make a real film or commercial, I think there's going to be massive job displacement. I love it from a creator point of view. I don't love it from an industry human creator point of view. There's a real problem here. And I'll tell you why. I have an 18-year-old son. He's studying, what is it called? Entertainment design, concept art. And I'm telling him Midjourney already does what you do better, faster. So what are we learning and what are we preparing people for? Because these jobs may not even exist by the time he graduates. In 4 years, I just can't imagine it. But I do want to emphasize to him rules of composition, learning about anatomy, framing things, understanding things about perspective, because perhaps when the machine generates something and you feel like it could be better, then you can art direct it and talk to it. I think we're in that age now. We're very close to that, where we can just use plain language and tell it what we want, and it'll make exactly what it is that we want. And when that happens, I really don't understand what the visual effects and even design and concept artists are going to do. This is troubling for me, right? So from a creator point of view, I love it. But from a visual effects artist, illustrator, designer, this is a problem.
I love that opinion on for creators versus for industry. I think that's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah, unlike in tools in the past and disruptions, when we talk about desktop publishing, there were people who were kind of collateral damage, because when we had desktop publishing, professional typesetters were out of a business. And a lot of designers were challenged because the market was going to be flooded with a lot of new designers. I think once the dust settles, though, the people who understand design, who can use the technology, and that's the critical part, have a competitive advantage. So the old school designers who were used to doing sketches and sending things out to typesetters, they weren't able to do things efficiently and cost effectively enough that they were then soon to be displaced. Now that's to put aside like the people who are like icons, people who have books written about them, who teach classes at Harvard or Yale, wherever they teach. Those are totally different. But for the average designer who could not get on board with the digital revolution, I think they were left behind. And it created a lot of opportunity for new self-taught designers to enter into the market. And most designers would say it has been a net positive thing. But I'm sure if you're one of those people who were displaced and weren't able to get back into the field, it was probably very problematic.
I'm seeing that from different industries too. It also reminds me of like coding and software development. There's all of these, legacy software developers with 20, 30 years of experience, 10 years of experience, whatever, that are so comfortable writing their own code. But now all of these LLMs are getting more and more powerful with code writers. I mean, just yesterday, ChatGPT rolled out a new model within ChatGPT, O2 with Canvas, specifically for coding. And then last week, Meta just rolled out their own AI code assistant. And we're seeing so many entry-level coders and developers that are writing apps and different software that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars. It's a one-person team. It's an entry-level software developer, but they're leveraging AI. And so I've seen both longer software developers embrace AI, but then there's also some hesitancy that we see as well. So there's even some people on our team that have resisted leveraging AI to write code. And I think people like that are also going to get a little left behind. There's going to be some displacement because it's going to open the door for new people to accomplish more faster with less experience.
I want to point out a couple different things and hopefully help our audience through this transition, because as an AI optimist, I would encourage all of you, regardless of what you do, to integrate AI, to do more of what you do, to remove some of the mundane tedium of what it is that you do and be more efficient and help you think and to be more creative than you thought you previously could be, and to empower you. So a couple of things I want people to think about. Not that long ago, you'd have to go down to a well and pump or pull a bucket of water out, or maybe go to the stream and collect it every single day just to survive. I don't know how electricity works, but I know when I plug something into the wall, it works. And so when we don't have to do the things that humanity has had to deal with for thousands or hundreds of thousands of years, it probes or posits a new question in our mind, which is, if you didn't have to do the things that you don't have to do, what is it that you want to do? And it gives us our ability to maybe work towards the top end of Maslow's pyramid, where it's like self-actualization. Who do we want to be? what it is that we want to say, what kind of art form do we want to make. Now I'm going to transition that and just touch upon this idea. AI, in the way that you're talking about right now, helps you, the author, the creator, to remove some of the most painful parts of content creation as it relates to perhaps social media marketing. If you don't want to be on camera, you can speak as a voiceover, so you can still write it and you could speak it, and then you can have something generate the imagery and even do some of the editing for you. Up until the point in which you're doing very little, putting an input, an idea, maybe a mashup of two different things you've noticed. It will write the script. It will do the voiceover, either in your voice or another voice. It can generate an image, a video of a representation of you or someone else, or use cinematic illustrations or drawings or photography to tell your story, even compose a song for you. So we have to all determine individually where we want to sit on that spectrum of fully automated versus AI assisted.
Yep.
I have a concern, and I would love for you to address this.
Sure.
If I just type in an idea and it does all of it for me, and say it does a really good job, what is my authorship in this? What am I really doing besides typing something in? And if it's that easy to do that, is that content going to be special, unique, different? And is it just going to be contributing to the noise? I'm curious what your take on that is.
Yeah, it's such a good question that I somewhat struggle with, just personally, because I am a content creator. But I also wanted it to make it as simple as possible for everybody to be a content creator. It's going to add to the noise. Will it get to a dead internet theory type of thing, which is a fascinating thing to think about. But does authorship come from the intention and the idea, or the actual creation process? I don't have a short answer for that, though. I think anybody should be able to create however they want to create. And you personally, like you were saying, dictate the level of involvement that you want. That flexibility is the true advantage right now. I mean, there's even some of the like faceless video tools. We're working on this too, like true automation. Right now, you still have to press buttons, right? But there are automation tools where it's set it and forget it. And so you type in a single idea, like a recurring series about Bible facts, and the automation software every day or every week or several times a day will automatically create the entire videos for you with no additional input. It will automatically schedule. It will automatically publish it for you.
I agree with you. I'm not like a creation czar. Nobody appointed me. I don't really think any one way is right for all people. Use whatever you want. Don't break the laws. Try to be ethical, and do what you feel is right with you and your values, and you'll be fine. Now, before I ask the question here, I'm unfamiliar with the term dead internet. What does that mean? Can you briefly tell me what that is?
The dead internet theory is basically that there's very few actual people liking and engaging with content online, and that it's all bots. So it's all Twitter bots or Facebook bots that are the vast majority of active users on these platforms. And so you extrapolate that out with AI content creation. Does it get to a point where it's AI and bots creating content, and then AI and bots that are engaging with that content, and there's no real human interaction of me logging on to Facebook and manually looking at my friend's stuff? It's just bots talking to bots and bots creating for bots. And so that's kind of the dead internet theory.
So as a creative person myself, as a person who's mostly made images and moving type and compositions, and then more recently within the last 10 years, starting to write and to speak, I articulate to know what it is that I'm thinking and what I know. But when I click buttons, I don't know anything and I'm not doing anything. And so my personal development is zero. I might be growing a large social media following, but I'm not sure what the end game of that is. Okay, so you have a large account. You can probably do brand deals. You can get sponsorships. You probably should be paid for your views and content from the platforms themselves. So it's a way for us to make money. So I see people in developing countries using this to do that, because the amount of money they can generate is actually a lot more than they can any other way. And I don't want to fault anybody for doing that. But what happens if we take this to the end, which is I wanted to establish pieces of thought leadership, and I grow a faceless account, and then somebody reaches out and say, hey, Chris, can you speak at our conference? I accept that offer. And then I go on stage and what am I going to talk about? Because I didn't write any of it. I don't know any of it. I haven't read or researched or did any critical thinking or debating about it. So what does that make me? How do you, what is your take on that?
There's a clear difference between thought leadership and people that just want to make passive income online through ad revenue or maybe the occasional brand deal or something like that. Plus, a lot of people just hate being a public speaker. I love public speaking. That's been a big goal of mine for many years that I've accomplished over the last couple of years. I don't think those types of people would even step up to take on some of those initiatives. I think there's always going to be the opportunities for the true thought leaders, the creators, the people with a voice, the experts in every industry. And there's always going to be interest of real people to learn and observe from those people as well. It might even be more clear at the end of this rabbit hole where people seek interaction, and maybe it takes us into an offline world with more events and more masterminds and more in-person get-togethers and things along the lines of that. I don't know. It's crazy to think where it could go, but I think there's always going to be room for real thought leadership until we get to a point where Elon's androids are delivering talks based on AI, and then that's a whole other conversation about if the information is good, does the source that you get it from really matter?
Okay, that's a good question to think about. So if we play that part out and we say, okay, let's say there are 1 million users who use Syllabi, who crank out faceless content. I'm wondering if humans start to recognize a pattern, because AI does have a pattern of thinking. I think Google Notebook that does this fake podcast interview, which is exceptional, by the way. I've only listened to 2 of them and I recognize the pattern immediately what it's doing. It's almost predictable. And I think there's something beautiful about something that is human made, that has human intention, and also I think mistakes or faults that are built into it that I think we'll be able to spot pretty quickly. So the dead internet theory is like, if all the bots are creating the content and if all the people who follow them and engage with it are, where do humans go? And I think that's going to then create a whole different paradigm where I would rather just hear you talk as a real person in person, and I don't want to see some version of you online because I don't think it's really you. From a personal content consumption point of view, news-related things I can tolerate. So I'm really interested in buying a new Tesla right now. So there's always these accounts that are creating Tesla news, and they use very hyperbolic, hooky kind of the new car that Tesla just announced. I'm like, really? Okay, I click on it, and it's not that at all, first of all. And it shows renderings of what it might be like. And I can tell very quickly, like, oh, this is a robot. I wish I had a button on YouTube to say, never show me another piece of content from this person again. But it does pop up more often. And I do feel that, like, I don't mind you doing it, but this is giving me no real value. It's clogging up our servers. It's using electricity. It's using up my internet bandwidth. There's a lot of those problems. So sometimes it's entertaining, but oftentimes I have a real problem with that. And as a person who's created that kind of tool, how do you respond to that?
I think the platform should be better at auto labeling AI. And I think you as user, so they've given us some of these options to tick on AI generated or AI manipulated.
Yes.
I think TikTok already partnered with a third party service to detect avatars and deepfakes and label them automatically, whether you select them or not. I think that's what it ultimately needs to come to, is a point where AI generated content is labeled. That up front lets the user decide their level of attention that they're paying to it, if they want to see or are okay seeing AI content, or if they only want human content. And then what is that middle ground too, which still needs to be resolved, of if it's mostly me, but there's an AI image that I put on the screen, or there's some sort of AI element in my real video, at what level do I need to disclose that? what is morally acceptable to everyone. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. It's the Wild West. I think it does need to be regulated. I am trying to provide the tools to allow people to create however they want. Another big differentiator for us that I'll mention as well is I see Syllabi as a workflow tool, not just an AI video generation tool. So we built a custom video editor, for instance, and so you can fully upload your own footage and edit it however you want. If you just want to find ideas, write scripts, you actually create the content and then schedule and publish that out. You have that ability. There are many other tools that are entirely AI run and generated. Yeah, I think people should have the right to choose how they create and what they consume.
I saw a demo of Syllabi at work, and I do like the thinking behind it. You have a prompt. What is it you want to talk about? You can use lots of words or few words, and then it writes an outline. Just the outline helps me to think it through, like how, and outlines are good because they're formulaic and they're structured, and I don't have a problem with that. Then the next step in the flow was like, it writes the script for you. I'm like, okay, let's read the script and see what happens. And maybe there's an opportunity for me to inject some of my own observations, my own life stories to humanize it, and then it can take care of the rest. So we can see that how it can work. My concern, you've made your point very clear. Everybody should be able to create however they want to create. I'm with that. Is that human beings, when presented with a shortcut, will almost always take the shortcut because doing the hard thing is the hard thing. So people don't like to do that. I'm weird in this way. I enjoy hard things because I know it makes me stronger. It makes me better. So let's kind of take this through the way that I think can help out a lot of people. Let's just pretend I'm going to make a big assumption that you're a real human. I'm not speaking to an AI generated deep fake of yourself. And what you're saying is not being fed through some kind of earpiece where an AI is generating these responses for you. This conversation is real. But you know what's a pain in the butt? Is once this recording is done, I have to then download it, and then I have to upload it to a server. And my podcast team then has to edit it. And then they have to generate a good title for it. And then they have to write a blog post about it. And then they have to write a social media post about it to be able to share that. I believe as much of that can be automated as possible would be a good thing. I enjoy this. I appreciate, and I'm gesturing for people who can't see my hands, this kind of Italian thing, like between me and you right now, this dialogue. But all the other stuff is kind of a pain, right? But necessary. Like I wanted to upload to the site. I wanted to generate a nice thumbnail, think of a really good title that summarizes the big idea, not in a clickbaity way, but a way for you to feel compelled, like, I want to learn more about this, therefore I should click on this. Those things are a pain in the butt. I want to automate as much of that as possible. And I think that's my use case, and I'm excited about that. That's my take on that. And do you have a response to that or your own opinion on
I mean, I completely agree. And I have somewhat paid attention to what Riverside is doing, for instance, to alleviate a lot of that. I mean, we're live on Riverside right now. So like, I love software like this that are leveraging AI features to do exactly what you're talking about, just making things way easier. That's a great workflow. I think everybody needs to choose their level of involvement with AI. I think it's impossible to ignore these tools, and I think it's borderline foolish to take a stance in the ground to just not use any of them at all, but use them at your discretion. Use them where you feel comfortable. Start, easing into these things. And to your earlier point as well, what are those tedious things that you hate to do, or that takes you a ridiculous amount of time, or is very expensive to do for any variety of reason?
Real quick, before I forget, this video is brought to you by us, the future. We see you, side hustlers, working tirelessly, juggling both your full-time job and your passion to take your creativity full-time. Well, Accelerator's got your back. We've helped side hustlers just like you create killer work, learn how to land dream clients, and profit more. When you join, you'll get access to a self-paced roadmap full of video classes, templates, and resources. You'll also get weekly coaching calls, personalized feedback, and a supportive community. Join Accelerator and map out an exit plan from your day job without losing your mind. Click the link in the description below or head to thefuture.com/accelerator. We'll see you there. Okay, back to you, Chris.
So I'm going to make now a case for the opposite, or is why you should go all in on this now, so people can have a more informed opinion. Not that long ago, maybe the early 2000s, most of media were controlled by a few companies. And to be able to be heard, you have to have a lot of things working for you. You probably have to have connections, an agent, and someone who is actively working and pitching you to networks who get to decide who they feature. And then to be able to be on those shows, there's a whole crew, lighting, camera people, script supervisors, producers. There's a big production so that you can share 20 seconds to 2 minutes worth of ideas. And that was it. That was your shot. And now we've come to this age where with social platforms, you can directly communicate to an audience. Anybody anywhere in the world who has a compelling idea, who can deliver in ways that the social platforms understand, can have an audience, and you don't need all that. I don't think anybody's complaining about that, except for the networks, except for the newspapers and magazines. But the rest of us benefit from doing that. And so we might be in this next paradigm shift where these tools allow us to even make the process more in line with who we are. Okay, so I want to carefully and have a more nuanced conversation about the dangers, the pros and cons of both. Taking the position that you have, you must, I imagine, get a lot of heat. The trolls must be coming after you because they're like, oh, because I've been to conferences where there's some really heated debate and people drawing, like you said, a line in the sand and say, I'm anti-AI. And there's this whole movement and they're posting on socials, I'm anti-AI over and over again, mostly from creative people, mostly from artists, the people who are in our community. What are some of the comments that you get? Some of the most vitriolic comments, and how do you respond to them?
Yeah, so this is going to somewhat get into my social media philosophy. So outside of AI, I realized, so I have several million followers on social media. I realized years ago that all these platforms care about is engagement. They don't care if it's positive engagement or it's negative engagement. That's why we see so many negative headlines that elicit emotional responses. And it's just obviously troll jobs, but what does it do? It causes virality. With that said, I love the trolls. Not everybody can deal with trolls. I am a child of the internet, as we discussed. I am fully supportive of trolls. I think trolls can leverage growth. So I often troll the trolls. I will make purposeful errors. I will put stances in the ground that are black and white statements and have nuanced things on either side. I love seeing trolls in any capacity online. Now, some of the comments that I get are, AI trash, AI slop peddler. It was probably the word. One that sticks out. Like, come on, man.
That's a good one.
Yeah, dead internet theory comments I get all the time. People saying this is hurtful and harmful to creatives. Before I started Syllabi, for instance, I have been in the marketing agency space for 11 years. I worked at marketing agency. I started my own marketing agency. I became very interested in AI several years ago. And I saw a lot of these processes. I saw the writing on the wall is that a lot of what an agency does at a high level, not at a very specific one-on-one expertise level. A lot of what an agency does can be achieved by software and AI. And I saw that these tools were going to steal market share away from agencies. Why would somebody pay thousands of dollars, or maybe they can't even afford to pay thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars, whatever, to a marketing agency when they could pay $20, $50, $100 a month to do the bare minimum and help them get going? I could be an anti-AI person and I would get trolls on the opposite side. So no matter what you do, you put yourself out there anywhere. You put yourself out there in person, even not online, you're going to get trolls. And that's the beauty of humanity, is that we have different opinions on different things. Now, sometimes trolls are just trolls, and sometimes trolls are actually just bots as well. So you have to focus on that too.
There are troll bots out there?
Of course.
Okay, maybe I'm talking to some of them. All right. Well, let me clarify a couple of things, but I'd really love to hear more specifically how you're responding to some of this stuff, all right? So you're saying engagement is engagement, good or bad, and we embrace the trolls. You and I are unique in this, that I appreciate our trolls, and the people are really angry, because I always think someone, putting aside the bot part, someone who's really angry with you is a person who used to love what you do and you've done something that they feel is against what they want and believe. And so I always feel like there's an opportunity for us to mend the relationship, to mend the fence, if you will. And if not, I have fun and I make little snarky comments myself back because I should be better than this, but I'm not. And I enjoy doing the dance with them. So when someone's like, you're an AI slop peddler, do you respond to them? How do you embrace them? Or do you do anything with that?
No, I do the exact same thing that you just mentioned. So I love opening up the dialogue. I've turned many people around. You know, that's the other thing, like engage with your trolls because you don't know where they're coming from. You know, they might just be shouting out and lashing out at you because they're having spousal problems or problems you don't know where they're coming from, right? So like have a little bit of grace and open that dialogue up. Can't tell you how many times, and I'm sure this has happened to you, people are like, I'm sorry, I was just in a bad mood. I've won people over on ads. So we run ads for Syllabi. And so like, you know, we've had comments like people talking shit. And then I'll go in the comments like, hey, I'm the CEO. Could you explain a little bit more? What about this? And we'll have a conversation that's public. And I'll end up like giving them like 30 day, like this just happened. I gave somebody free access to Syllabi that was a hater on our on one of our ads on Facebook, and won him over. And he messages us all the time and he uses it. But I love, you know, if somebody says you're just an AI slop peddler, well, I'll respond. What makes you think that? Can you elaborate a little bit more? And then they'll go into some more opinions of, you know, AI is hurting creatives. And I'll say, well, you know, here's a different perspective. I think it enables creativity in a lot of different ways. And it's just having that public discourse, unless it's hateful for the sake of being. If it's like absurd, you know, I'll just block people sometimes. But like the vast majority of the time, I will open up the dialogue. And I will get snarky with them too. I will troll them right back.
It's the reverse troll. You've talked about this in some formats before, and we kind of talked about it prior to recording, about you've been able to grow on TikTok multiple times, get your account blocked, and then permanently banned. Tell us a little bit about what's happening there.
I love and hate TikTok all at the same time. TikTok has changed my life. It's opened up so many opportunities for me as a content creator. You know, I adopted it very early on. I started creating content on TikTok 5 years ago, very, very early, all things TikTok considered. Big Gary Vee fan, and so he was shoving it down our throats. So I adopted it that way. It seems that some of these platforms, TikTok in particular, doesn't or has automatic flagging of content that takes you off platform. They label it as like scam and fraud is the blanket statement that they say on there. That's the vast majority of my content. Here's an AI website that will help you. Here's 5 websites that feel illegal to know is like an opening hook that I use all the time. If you stack these 3 websites together, it's going to destroy the internet, you know, silly stuff like that. And it shows it like the point of these platforms is to keep you on longer so they can serve you more ads. That's their entire business model, right? And so when there's content that takes you off platforms, they sometimes don't like it. So I've had videos flagged for years on TikTok in particular. Now it really is just TikTok that has the biggest problem, which is interesting. Like the content every now and then will get late, like an issue on YouTube, but that very infrequently. Almost never on Instagram, sometimes on Facebook, but it almost always course corrects. TikTok is just very strict on this for whatever reason. The first time I got banned on TikTok, I was pretty much all in on TikTok, and it forced me to diversify and figure out the other platforms. So I'm actually very thankful that I was banned on TikTok the first time. I wouldn't have had the push to figure out the nuances to grow on all of the other platforms like I did. I got the account restored. It happened again, like it seems like once a year, they kept banning the account, and then I'd get it restored, and then it banned again, and then you lose followers along the way, and then you build up a little bit more traction. It ultimately got permanently banned. I think about a year ago. I think it was October or November of last year. I was almost 900,000 followers, I think like 860,000 or something along the lines of that. It also turns out they had shifted something in their data processing where if an account is banned, it remains like kind of in limbo for a certain amount of time, and they can, like a software developer engineer can restore it. But they started purging cache after 30 days as a more recent thing. And so once they purge that cache, it's gone forever. I tried to get some developers involved and contact local like the DOJ to contact them and stuff like that, and this last time ultimately was too late. The cache was already purged. I had talked to some TikTok ad representatives that were investigating my account in particular, and that was the explanation that they ultimately gave. So it just happens. But I mean, now I'm back up to almost 200,000 followers again in the last year. I mean, once you really figure this stuff out, you know how to create content that works. You know a little bit of human psychology. You know what people what they want, what they engage with, who your audience is, what their interests are. I've sort of become desensitized to account bans, which sucks because you spend so much time and effort. And I grew multiple businesses off that TikTok. I'm still bittersweet about it, but all of these platforms are rented land. We are not really entitled to have a following just because we create content. We're not entitled to it. So I try to keep that in mind as well. But it's bittersweet.
Have you been using your own tools, or are you not just the founder but a client? Do you use Faceless content to grow your following?
Oh yeah, I'm addicted to it. I think
Okay.
In most cases, founders should use their own tools. They should be advocates. So yeah, I have a Faceless channel I'm growing right now. It's about 6,500 YouTube subscribers, almost 1 million views. I create Faceless videos every day. I find it really fun, to be honest. We as a team run, I think 20 to 30 different Faceless channels, all created with Syllabi. The last 3 months in a row, we've been doing Faceless video challenges, 30-day challenges. So we have a pretty sizable Facebook group, Syllabi content creators, and we have hundreds of participants in that every month that we've been doing these challenges. And I participate in these challenges. I create content and I share it. I'm just as passionate about. I think I'm not our top user, but I'm like a top 5 of Syllabi users.
So what kind of results have real people have gotten from using Syllabi to do Faceless content?
The most viewed one is about 930,000 views organically so far. We awarded people based on the amount of views that they got. So I think like 15 people had videos that got over 100,000 views. The top 3 were the 900,000, 500,000, and I think 300,000. All different platforms: Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Different niches, different languages. We have one lady that creates Spanish content on TikTok. She has 13,000 followers now, all Syllabi videos. We have businesses using it as well. A lot of real estate agents and mortgage brokers are creating content around different loan types and moving to different areas. Some medical professionals. So that's been fascinating to see. It's not all just like ancient history videos or anime videos, or, stuff like that. It's businesses are using it, and those are really cool to see those results as well. Every day I see we have our Facebook group's so active. It's been amazing. We've really focused on building our community, and every day we see these unasked for comments in there of, guys, I just posted a video and it got 10,000 views. I'm up to 500 subscribers on YouTube. Everybody's helping each other out. We've really built an amazing culture for our users, and that's on purpose too. Like we're very build in public. I'm going off on a tangent, but there's been so many amazing results. People have been monetizing their channels from these Faceless videos. So that's a common myth as well, that these platforms will not monetize AI content. That is not true at all. You absolutely can. I spoke to YouTube directly about it and asked them, and they said yes. But yeah, that's just it's so rewarding to me to see people succeed. We've had amazing success results. I've personally, just on my own channels, seen amazing results, tens of thousands of views. It's just been fun, man. It's a fun experiment.
The video that got 930,000 views, what was it about?
Pittsburgh.
Okay. All right.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is what the video is about. It was a Facebook reel, one of those topics you'd never think about it. The guy has it's like an all things Pittsburgh Facebook page, and that one video, I forget the specific topic, but it's like five things to do in Pittsburgh or something like that.
There you go. Everybody, niche content can work.
Yeah.
Knowing what you know about the way that human emotions work and what kind of videos work, I'm sure you've had to build this into Syllabi. If somebody, okay, I'm going to ask you to just brainstorm. What are we going to call this episode so that it has the maximum opportunity for someone to tune in?
Well, let me ask ChatGPT that question real quick. No,
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
It's been listening the whole time.
Yeah, I think, leveraging AI to embrace creativity, something along the lines of that. There's so much of my social media philosophy and I have that I put into Syllabi, from how we generate scripts to different elements. The whole process is another differentiator. Like finding a topic that people are searching for online, writing a script around it, and then the whole back end process as well is just what I've been doing for over a decade at this point. I mean, I've personally created, I think, around 4,000 or 5,000 videos. I've personally published just for myself.
Okay, I have a title idea. I'm going to run it by you and see what you think.
Sure.
Is AI generated faceless content the future?
That's good. I also love to lean into like negative emotions too. Is AI generated content slop? Lean into the negative emotion rather than the positive emotion of opportunity. We look at that from news headlines, right? News headlines are always negative. So I do a lot of psychological tests on social media, but as soon as I break the fourth wall and say that I'm doing a psychological test and here's why you're being manipulated, people don't like that.
Okay.
The harsh reality, the blunt truth is that negative headlines get more engagement.
Before we get out of here, I want to ask you something, because you talked about it was one of your life aspirations to become a public speaker. Now you're an international public speaker. What are the topics that you speak about?
Social media content strategy, leveraging AI to be more productive. I also have just a large amount of experience in behavioral health marketing, working with addiction treatment centers and psychologists and therapists. So I just spoke in Italy last month about effective marketing, social media marketing strategies for therapists. Is what I specifically talked about. I love that population. I love working in that industry. And so I do a fair amount of speaking marketing strategy for behavioral health workers.
Is that using AI tools to produce the content, or is it more strategic?
Patient education is the underlying strategy for that. I'm a firm believer of giving your best information away for free to build trust online and open that dialogue. And so by creating content around what your clients are searching for or the problems that they're actually struggling with, proves that you are an expert and a voice that they resonate with, and it just helps them make the right decision to contact you because you've already communicated that you understand the underlying problem that they're dealing with. Like if you're talking about like early childhood trauma leading to drug abuse, really understanding that core problem and creating a relatable video on that cuts through the noise, shows you as a human and your expertise. So like, I don't think AI will be a full replacement for that. It can certainly enhance a lot of that, and it does enhance a lot of that. But yeah, that's a lot of what I really get into, and I'm passionate about that. I've worked with therapists for over a decade and addiction treatments professionals and addiction treatment centers. Yeah, I love working that. I mean, those professions, they have life-changing information in their head. When you create a video around like, here's just 3 quick tips. If you're just feeling anxious today, you're anxiety ridden, you're having a panic attack, here's 3 things that are going to help you right now as you're scrolling through, right? Like videos like that can literally save lives, whether they contact you for help or not. That's another reason why I love working in this industry, is like, people think social media is silly, but it's how we consume. Just by putting a video out there, even if it reaches 50 people, it gets 50 views, you might have just saved somebody's life.
I don't even do deep therapy work, and sometimes the things that we talk about really save someone's business and then therefore has a deeper impact on all their personal relationships, right? Yep. The conversation no one wants to have is sitting around the kitchen table and making a really hard decision between doing something like taking a vacation or paying a bill or having I don't want to be overly dramatic about it, but like a procedure for somebody they care about, and having to delay that because they don't have the means to do it. So I totally understand the massive potential for educational content, even inspirational, or just for someone to feel seen and heard. If someone's really interested in trying out Faceless content and getting into Syllabi, where did they go? How do they get more?
Yeah, absolutely. Syllabi.io. That's Syllabi with a Y, so SYLLABY.io. We have an amazing customer service team. We do demo calls with everybody all day. If you use the code CHALLENGE, it'll save you 25% as well. So off any monthly plan or any annual plan as well. That's the cheapest way. We've tried to make it really simple. As soon as you get in, sign up for the app, all you need to do is click create faceless video, and then it'll take you through the whole journey. We have tutorials in there. We do weekly webinars online as well. You can jump into the Syllabi ecosystem. I am very available, and I try to make myself, I am in the weeds with everybody, private messaging, handling customer interviews, customer support. I am so passionate about social media growth. I just want you to succeed online, whether you are an active Syllabi user or you just want to learn everything about content creation and getting your message out there. That's one thing that I really stand for. So just jump in and let us know how we can help you. I'm here. I'm available.
Wonderful. What a great way to end the show. Austin, thanks for doing this. Thanks for sharing with us your perspective on content creation. I wish you the very best.
Thank you, Chris, for having me. It's a huge opportunity. I am Austin Armstrong. You are listening to The Future.